Hello.
Yo, what's happening?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. You well?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, as well as can be
Yeah,
in what's going on.
yeah, I hear
How,
you. I hear you.
what are you managing to spend your days doing? I know you're still training, right?
Yeah, definitely still training. I mean, training 5 times a week. Nothing too hard. Just ticking over, really making sure that I'm not going overweight. Well, not going too overweight, and just maintaining some sort of conditioning, cardio, and boxing.
Is it fair to say that, even though it's a little bit difficult to kind of, obviously the diet, all fighters' diets are kind of up and down at this time, but is it fair to say that if you're not disciplined and if you can't kind of be strict with yourself, you're in the wrong game, I suppose?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some people need a release and then they come
Hmm.
back, more hungry, more motivated. I think with this, I think training, healthy diet is a way to keep your mind healthy. I mean, if I didn't have a gym to train at right now, I mean, I think I'd go a little bit loopy. So I think it's more so for my mental health to make sure I keep active and to keep in some sort of routine.
Am I right did I read somewhere before that your diet is plant-based?
My diet is what, sorry?
Plant-based.
It's pescatarian.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
interesting. How long have you been
so
pescatarian?
for about, well, I went vegetarian, so I haven't eaten like meat for since last October. So I'd probably say pescatarian about 6 months, 5 months. So I haven't touched meat. Vegetarian, I just found that there weren't enough in just eating vegetables for me.
Hmm.
So I needed fish for my protein and my fats and oils, etc.
What was the original reason why you decided to quit eating meat?
Um, just because I just heard about all the benefits, and I think anything that is going to give you that upper hand in the sport is needed. Because sometimes it comes down to the inches in the sport. It's the minor differences. And I believe that, I thought, you know what, I do love eating meat. I haven't eaten meat for ages, but I love meat. Like, I do look at a bit of lamb and I'm like, oh, I fancy a bit of that Sunday roast. But then I've just chosen not to for the time being, which is probably part of the reason as to why I haven't blown up in weight as much as I used to. I mean, I used to have steak like 3 times a day. So,
What?
yeah, I don't know, for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Yeah, yeah, I know
Holy
it's bad.
shit.
Yeah, I know it's bad, very bad.
So
But,
can we talk about your start in boxing? Because obviously, I think a lot of people at this stage know your dad, Nigel, obviously one of the UK's most well-known and accomplished fighters. Um, Again, am I right in thinking that boxing wasn't originally, you didn't sort of like come out of the womb and be like, I'm going to be a boxer?
no, not at all. I mean, to be fair, my life was so luxurious and
Hmm.
we'll be back in a minute. But no, my life was so luxurious and I had such a good life that I thought was normal. I thought my dad coming home in his Porsche from the country club was normal. My mum didn't have to go to work, had a nice Cadillac. I had my own jacuzzi in my room, my own balcony overlooking the sea. So that was my life growing up, and I thought that was normal. This private school I went to only had 30 kids in the school. So I weren't cut out to be a fighter, and then all of a sudden, I became a fighter. So this is a weird transition.
Why do you say that you weren't cut out to be a fighter? Because you didn't have that sort of, we most commonly see fighters that have come from an underprivileged background or that have a desire to win because they want to prove that they can be something. So was it from that kind of a perspective or where did it come from?
No, it's not. I didn't. You don't think that at a young age. So
Mm.
what you're saying there, I didn't think. Oh, I just weren't a fighter. I was just raised as a nice, good, quiet church boy. That's how I was raised. I mean, I sang in my church choir. I played the guitar in the band, and I was that kid, believe it or not, up until I was about 17, 18. And then 17, 18, I don't know what happened, but when I turned 18, I just sort of maybe discovered myself. Certain things happen in life, and they make you are the way you are. I mean, if you look at all my other siblings, they're nothing like me. They're so peaceful and quiet and nice and sensitive, and then there's me.
So, which leads me to my next question. Do you now that you're you've won your own titles, you're undefeated professional fighter, you're well into this game now. Do you feel that it's in your blood? Do you feel that this is something that you were meant to do? Is this part of your path that you were meant to take?
Yeah, I mean, anything I would have done, I would have been successful. Anything I would have done, anything I chose to do, I would have been successful, because I think it's my mindset. And I believe what I went through in a short period of time when I turned 17, 18, around that period, what I went through was enough drama, enough stress, and problems to last me a lifetime. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think it was that molded me to become the way that I am, and my mentality that I've got, which I needed to overcome that situation in my life, and I did, and now I am where I am, and I think it's more of a mindset thing. I think outside of boxing, it's about the mentality, the way I choose to view things, down to perspective, and everything's down to perspective. Sometimes you just got to change the lens you're looking at life through, or a certain situation, and about 10 people can see it differently. So sometimes you need to talk to some people outside the box who have a better, perspective than you. So it's all down to perspective, and the way you choose to look at it.
I'm glad that you touched on it, because one thing that's always been very kind of obvious, or one thing that's been very plain to see when you do look at your interviews that you've done in the past, is how wise or how older than your years that you seem. Do you put that down to just your character, or is that having been exposed to these things around your late teens that kind of made you have to grow up a little bit?
Definitely being exposed. Not that I had to, because I said I had a luxury life, but I chose to expose myself to a lot of things, and now those are demons I've got to deal with. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And because I chose to let them in, but not only that, what I was exposed to that made me, realise a lot about the world. It's also church as well, that I believe instills wisdom in you. I believe even if you don't believe in God, you don't believe in God, and there is no God. Even if you just read the Bible or read the book of Proverbs, it talks about wisdom and being wise and having good judgment of character, and it says in the Bible that bad company corrupts good morals, and all things like that. It's just about wisdom, which, as I said, I grew up in church, and I'd like to think that I gave it's credit to my parents for raising me the way they did.
Absolutely. Does the kind of spiritual side of things, or your faith, does that creep into boxing as well? Like, would you have spiritual practices in terms of, before you go to fight or after you fight? Like, what is it for you?
It's not like superstition, is it? It's not like, I'm going to pray. I pray in the morning, I pray at night, I pray if I could be driving the car to the gym, and I'd be like, God, give me strength, because right now I know I can't do it on my own ability. Each round in sparring, I go, God, give me strength, help me get through this. And then I pray. You don't believe me, I do. Every time before I spar, I bow down in the corner and I just say, God, because you think I've done my hand injury, I've torn my tendon in my hand in sparring, I've broken my jaw in sparring. That's like me telling you, you're going to walk a zebra crossing, but there's no zebra crossing. There's dodgy drivers on the road. You've been hit by a car twice. You're going to pray before you cross that road, aren't you? God, get me through that road. Get me through the road, please. Because clearly I can't do it myself. So you get me through the road. So that's the way I look at it. So I just I pray all the time, because I think it's the only thing that gets me through. To be honest, it's the only thing that gets me through.
when you talk about the injuries that you've overcome, like, I mean, at one point it just seemed like, you know, everything was just being thrown at you, giving you a lot of reason to just say, do you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to pack it in. But talk through that time, like, what are the main lessons that you learned? Because I imagine that you didn't just learn about, like, recovering from an injury. There was a more kind of a bigger learning lesson that you learned in terms of being injured and facing that again and coming back stronger and having to, I suppose, prove yourself.
I think, again, it's come down to times like this, and how I learned a lot of things from my first injury.
Mm-hmm.
When I first turned pro, I was just going out down Selfridges and going Harrods and, you know, giving it all the, you know, Charlie Victor, as you do. And then when I broke my jaw.
Well, I don't know personally, Conor.
Well, well, maybe not then. Again, luxury living. But so yeah, and then I didn't fight for about 9 months. But then when you first turn pro when you're 19 and you got money coming in, you know, I spunked all my money, and then I looked at my wardrobe, and I was like, I ain't fighting for ages, and I've spent all my money on clothes. So in that itself, it's taught me how to be wise with my money. Like, now I ain't got to fight for a very long time. Out of choice, I don't have to. Do you know what I mean? And that's because, again, from that early experience, now I know, save your money for a rainy day.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's when I say I won't fight till next year, I ain't stressing, I ain't worrying, but I learned that early on. And then my second injury, I learned how to use time productively, in terms of like I went a bit funny. I went in a depressed state and started just thinking things that I shouldn't be thinking because I got so much time on my hands. So now it's like, okay, now I'm good. I've got dough in the bank, and I'm in a good mental space. So from those two things, it's again down to perspective. I didn't think I'd get through it at the time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you just find a way.
Well, let me ask you something based on what you just touched on there, because we live in a society now where, you know, there's obviously the rise of social media. People are living their lives through social media, and it's all brands and it's all brand names and flash cars and watches and everything else. And you have our youth basically striving, thinking that if I just get that watch, if I just get that pair of Balenciagas, if I just get this brand name, that I'm going to be happy. As someone who's grown up with all these things around you, what would you say to them?
Really, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, sorry for swearing, but that's it. That's exactly what it comes down to, and it doesn't bring happiness. I mean, how can I be in a position now that I never dreamt I could be in, but yet still have struggles? Your struggles don't
Mm-hmm.
go away. No, but it's weird because my dad used to tell me this all the time. My money don't bring happiness, and I'm thinking it's only because you got money.
Yes,
Like,
which is what people think, right?
yeah, it's only because you get. He used to say it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, it's only because you got money. Like, stop. Like, but then me at 23, you know, living where I live, driving the nice cars that I drive, and etc. etc. It's like you gotta be happy within yourself and have
Mm.
people around you that make you happy. I know I'm sounding like, oh, I'm all like, I'm not. You
No,
know what
it's
I mean?
good. It's good. It's
But
like
it's
it's a
the
good
truth.
avenue.
It's the truth, and I think for as long as you're chasing money, don't get me wrong, I like the finer things in life.
Mm-hmm.
So does everybody else. When you're chasing it, when that's your main objective, when you're getting in debt to please, or when you're getting in, like, I'm debt free, and I won't get myself in debt for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Do you know what I mean? So, and the social media and what they're pushing, and it's all just like the world just needed to slow down a bit. It all just needs to slow down. Like, I see so many people just giving it. So I'm like, mate, just
Mm-hmm.
chill out, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, chill. Because when you're older, you're just gonna think, why did I waste so many years just being the way like that? It takes
Yes, I
people
agree.
years and, tens of years to actually understand and come to like a realization that money ain't a key motive. I see loads of people, happy who don't have money, and it's like, how are you so happy?
Mm.
How are you so happy with the little you have? And then it's like makes you think, oh man, the society we live in, and just the way I live in Essex, and the way it is over here, I mean, it's just like people need to just calm down, man. Calm down.
So, what, in your opinion, what is happiness, and how do we achieve it?
What is happiness, and how do we achieve it? I think you've got to just learn to know yourself. I think for as long as you seek comfort in others as well, or comfort in other people's opinions, you can never be true to yourself. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, it's like some people need approval and people need comfort in other people's lives. But until you find comfort in yourself, deal with every day. Like sometimes I sit there and I think I'm not right in the head, and then I'll pray, or a negative thought will come into my head and I'll pray, or you have thoughts come into your head like, or you read comments and things like that. So even down to comments, you read negative things and it's like, and you start to get in a downward state, and then it's like, I am where I am. I didn't plan on being where I am, but I believe in fate. I believe in God opens doors that no man can open, and I believe he shuts doors no man can close. I believe that what will be, will be. So my prayer when I go into the ring is, whenever you see me bow down in the corner, is God give me strength, power, courage, wisdom, and I pray your will be done. Because if it is his will, I can't lose. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like, I have so many things I'll deal with. I have my own problems. I have my own struggles. So I ain't like, it won't to raise holy hands and be like, I'm perfect. I'm far from perfect. I mean, look at me. I look like I'm part of the Mexican cartel. So, do you know what I mean? So listen, I'm not going all like, but that's just me anyway. And you got to have your own. I have my own personal relationship with God. I believe that he's brought me out of something that I didn't think I'd get out of, and elevated me to where I am now. And now I know that my whole life he was preparing me, and all the things I went through to be able to live here on my own at 19 and deal with everything that life throws at me. Because I'm learning more about just as much about life as I am boxing.
Is that better now?
I can hear you perfectly.
There you go.
Brilliant. Right. The internet. But yeah, we were talking, but I must say your wisdom is very impressive for your age. And I say that as someone, like, well, you're still 23, right?
She's 23.
23. Like, when I would think back when I was in my 20s and when I was 23, I definitely didn't have that much insight or like knowledge on the world and life. So you're very lucky to have that.
I believe so too. Again, I think it comes down to church. I mean, sometimes I do wish that I didn't see things as clear as I did.
Why do you say that?
I just think, I don't know, you can sometimes get caught in the trap of overthinking or hidden agendas, and I don't know, don't know.
Have you experienced, like, because obviously you've been around boxing your entire life, I imagine, with your dad, and you've seen the business of boxing. You've probably seen a side of boxing that the fans don't get to see, and that a lot of people that, young boxers that are starting out, you've probably experienced the positives and the negatives of the business of boxing. Would that be fair to say?
Sorry, it keeps going a bit funny. I don't know if it's yours or mine. What was it? What of boxing?
The bit you've seen both sides of the business of boxing, so you've seen the positive side and the negative side.
Well, the good thing is if you're good, you get paid well. So,
yeah.
The other side is, I think that's the discipline again. I think those are the good things about boxing, in my opinion. I think it's the discipline, the mindset. If you can take a fighter's mindset and take it into life, you'll be successful at whatever it is that you do.
What's the biggest lesson that you've learned in boxing that you're able to take into everyday life?
Take into life?
Yeah.
I've learned so many things. I've learned so much about myself. Probably the biggest thing will probably be that I am a fighter. I think that's what I take away from it. And people go, yeah, of course you're a fighter. You're a boxer. Just because you're a boxer doesn't mean you're a fighter or a fighter's mentality. Or in life, when life throws a hurdle at you or a curveball, how are you going to deal with it? I mean, I'll face it head on.
At what point did you learn that? Is this a recent kind of acknowledgement, or is it something that you've kind of always felt?
I think it's for every time I've had something come against me, it's how I've gone about it. I wouldn't say it's just been a one-off thing. I'd say it's from my injuries, from my hard fights. I think it's a combination of things. I think boxing, it brings out something in you. It shows your true colours. It shows what sort of man you are and the decisions you choose to make. When you're in the ring and you have a hard fight, are you going to fold in, are you going to crumble? Or are you going to go come in and grit down on your teeth? But again, I just say that to everyone. You ain't got to be a fighter to do it. You ain't got to be in that ring to do that. You can do that in life. When life throws stuff at you and you think there's no way through, or listen, you don't know how close you are to the other side. So you just got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing. I mean, when I'm in the ring and 3 minutes feels like a lifetime. It's only 3 minutes, but it feels like a lifetime. But then once them 3 minutes are up, you're like, thank God. Thank God. So, yeah, that's the same thing with life. You can turn around quickly.
What's your understanding of greatness?
What's my understanding of greatness? Understanding of greatness. My understanding of greatness. I think if you have the ability to inspire other people to be great, I think that's greatness. When you have that ability to make people want to be better themselves, or give someone who has no hope,
yes,
to achieve, to do something that they never thought they could have done, but because of the things you've gone through and the hurdles you've had to overcome, which were 10 to 1 or however it is, there's no hope, but yet you can do it. Why can't I do it? And that, I think, and I know, and my dad, I look at my dad, and from being the person he was to being the man he is today, there was no hope for him. I'm not talking about in boxing, I'm talking about outside boxing. So when you look at what he's had to deal with and had to overcome, you think, cool, what I'm going through is nothing, really. Yeah. And he's inspired me to be great. And it hasn't got to be blood related. If you can inspire people to be great, I think that's the level of greatness.
That's a really great answer as well. Really good. And with that as well, your dad, because one thing that I've always admired about your dad is how open he's been in interviews to talking about his past and how he had that transition and looking back and from it, you almost get a sense of, that there is hope for everyone. And I'm wondering, how is that for you? Because we look at these interviews and we look at his story and we admire him and we listen to it, but it's not our lives, it's not our dad. So how is that for you, or how was that for you growing up and knowing that, your story, your family story is so public?
It did affect me. Probably affect me more than the other kids. Well, just because of the way I don't know, I guess it just affected me growing up as a kid. Me and my dad, I needed help to deal with my issues with my dad, and up until I was about 18, and then now we're on lockdown together, having the time of our lives. Do you know what I mean? So that's another thing in itself. I mean, when your dad tries and explains things to you and you don't understand, you think he's just being harsh on you or hard on you. That was the only way he knew, and that was the only way he was showed love. So for me, it was that was the way he knew how to love me and show he cared. Was it compassionate, sympathetic, loving? Probably not. Probably not, but now I understand it. So now I get it, and it's now I know he only had my best interest at heart, and still does to this day. But you only know what you know.
Do you know what? That is such a massive thing, because I think when you understand that in life, it opens up so many doors for you to be able to put the past behind you, because you understand that. I mean, we all have it, and it's so refreshing to hear you talk about it, because obviously the preconception of Conor Benn is the privileged lifestyle, grown up with a famous dad. But the reality of it is that we all have a common denominator, whereas we all have these issues with our parents, right?
Exactly. So people are saying, "Oh, he's had this life." No, I still have. You see what I'm saying? It isn't about all that. Because I've probably had more things happen to me than some of the people who have less, or I've had to deal with things. You're still human. Push all the luxury aside. When I've gone through certain things in life, what you think I get in a Porsche and go, oh, this has made me so happy. Me driving this automatic car with leather seats, I'm going to put a heater on the chair. That's going to make me so happy. No, it ain't. And don't get me wrong, I like luxury things, but when you base your happiness on that, you never find happiness.
I hear you. How would you like to be remembered when it's all said and done?
Core them Benz can fight. That's it. That's how I want to be remembered. I'll never turn anyone down for a picture, ever, nor in my makeup. And I'm so thankful to the British public. Again, without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. So, I say that, and what are you cooking? So that's with Dad.
Hi, Nigel.
What are you cooking?
Hiya. Vegetables.
Oh, no.
Plant-based.
Plant-based. He's plant-based today.
I'm going to die.
Plant-based today.
What do you want?
No, I'm all right.
Do you know how huge that is for me? Like, I've grown up, like, watching your dad on TV. I used to sit with my dad on a couch watching your dad.
Yeah.
I'm so embarrassed.
He's cracking. He's so funny.
I love him.
He's nuts. Like, he's actually nuts. But it's funny, though, because that's what I've got to come, do you know what I mean? So I look at him and I think, I do things now that it's like, oh, man, I remember you used to do that. Like, when I was growing up, and I'd be like, why'd you do that? It makes no sense. And now I see myself doing it, and I'm just like, oh, no. That's me pending.
Do you know how terrifying it is when you start seeing yourself in your parents, or you start seeing your parents in you, and you're like, oh, no.
That's when you got to worry. So,
yes.
I'm preparing myself for it. I can already just remember about what I had for breakfast. So.
Well, listen, while we were chatting, everyone got a chance to send in some questions that they wanted to ask you. So before I let you go, I'll just have a look and see what everyone is wanting to ask.
I'm getting bit by the mosquitoes out here.
Oh, no.
And you're probably wondering why I've got no T-shirt on. It's because I left the house with no T-shirt.
Selena has asked, let me just check here. Sorry, I'm just trying to read them all out now. Actually, Lean has a good one. Where do you see yourself at the end of 2021? Obviously, we're kind of cancelling now 2020, but next year, at the end of the year, where do you see yourself?
Where do I see myself in 2021? You know what I've realised is you can't plan nothing in boxing. You got to take each fight as it comes. But how I'd like to see it, win the British title, maybe the European, and have a few big domestics.
Who's that?
That's my Solomon. Hey, say hello.
Hello.
Solomon, hey.
Oh, hi, Solomon.
Hey, look.
You're so cute. Oh, wow.
So yeah, this is my other one. Hold on. Go.
Oh, look at them. Wow.
Go. Solomon, sit. There.
Oh, they're so adorable.
So Solomon, sit.
Wow, look at his eyes, Conor. Wow.
He was the wisest man in the Bible, Solomon. And then Levi, my other dog, means joint together in Hebrew.
Oh, how long have you had them?
I've had the grey one for about 2 years. He's my first dog. He's a little weirdo. And the other one, Solomon, is the annoying big brother.
Oh, wow. They're gorgeous.
Yeah,
They're
so
so beautiful.
when I see myself 2021, undefeated, big domestics, and another year to prove myself.
Amazing. Karen has asked, if you could quarantine with 5 people, dead or alive, who are you choosing?
Female or male?
It's your choice.
My choice. Well, we won't say any females, could probably get in trouble. So
Yeah, don't do that.
I'd probably say Tupac and Tupac and that's actually really annoying. I'd probably go like, I actually don't know. Tupac, because I just think probably Snoop Dogg, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Tupac and Snoop.
Well, they're the table of wisdom, if ever, right?
Well, we'll be if I was retired, if I weren't boxing, I'd definitely have a reefer in my hand. I mean, it's only right when you're with Tupac and Snoop, isn't it?
Well, I was going to say you might have to open the window in that house.
Yeah, I mean that's the only excuse. Well, you're with Tupac and Snoop. I mean, that's written. It's got to be done. But
That's a good one. Are they, music-wise, is that what you would be listening to as well?
Say that again.
Music-wise, is that what you listen to? Hip-hop, R&B, is that your kind of...
Yeah, because they speak they speak realness. They're wise. All of them rappers, they're wise. Do you know what I mean? And they just speak facts, and that's what it is really. They speak straight facts.
Last question. Andrew has asked, what are you watching on Netflix?
Why am I watching what? Sorry.
What are you watching on Netflix?
What am I watching on Netflix?
Yeah.
Nothing at the minute, but there's Queen of the South, Breaking Bad, Ozark, Narcos, Power was good. I've cleaned them all out, all of them.
Right, very last question before I let you go have your dinner. Sandra has asked, what is your favourite boxing memory from being a child?
I never watched boxing growing up. My dad kept me far away from it. I didn't even know what the ABAs were until I come to England, which was 18 years old. Serious. I didn't even know what the ABAs were. So
no way.
No boxing memory. Oh, actually, when I went to Ricky Hatton's fight, his last fight, that's the first boxing match I ever went to. And that was like, that was my first ever boxing match. So it was like, I was like, that's sick.
Well, that's not a bad one to remember for your first, right?
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'll let you go have your dinner. Thank you so much.
Say
bye, Solomon. Such a good boy. Right. Thanks so much, Conor. Enjoy your evening. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.